I talk a lot, so we'll take the extra time. No, just messing with you. Well, I appreciate you guys all coming. Obviously, I'm Coach Moon. I'm the head football coach here at Pacifica High School. Very honored to be here for Media Day. I've never been a part of a Media Day before. Extremely honored to be in the Marmonte League. I grew up in Ventura County, and the Marmonte League has always been the best football league in Ventura County. So, obviously, the atmosphere or the demographic of schools and things like that have changed over the years. And everybody asks me, like, oh, what's it going to be like to be in the Marmonte League? I'm like, we're going to find out. So I know that we have some of the better athletes on the front and back end, and we've struggled up front, and that's going to be the challenge that we face. We're looking forward to it. We've been in the weight room. Not that we're not always going to the weight room, but we've been in the weight room with an extra emphasis on preparing ourselves for our opponents versus preparing ourselves just for being bigger, faster, stronger. It was always, okay, we need to prevent injury, we need to be bigger, faster, and stronger, but we're going to be battling some big dogs up front, and we need to be physically able to hold up, and B, dominate, if you will, or if we can, at the line of scrimmage. So, again, really excited to put some of our athletes against the Marmonte League athletes, and excited to see what our fronts can do. We have played everybody in the Marmonte League except for Bishop Diego. And what they do, both some challenges, what they do up front, running the ball, and you know, with 21 personnel, things like that. But we're going to be prepared for it and be ready for that as well. Again, just excited for what it holds. I was joking. I think it was Mr. Sondheimer. I was joking. We started from the bottom and now we're here. So that's kind of the story of the last 12 years. Is that you don't like that quote? A little cheesy, I guess, but I like it. Anyway, it kind of fits to where we started from 12 years ago, and not necessarily the bottom, because we took over for Coach Ray, and they were solid, but probably more close to the bottom. And now we're here. You know, now we're playing the likes of Oaks Christian, St. Bonaventure, Bishop Diego, and League, and you know, sitting at Oaks Christian in the media day. So I'm excited for it. Like I told you, I could talk a lot, but I'll probably stop there and introduce my guys. So right next to me, we got our quarterback. Just so you know, I will stand on the table for this kid being one of the top quarterbacks in the state of California. Duran, corner, Jesse Taylor. We got Isaiah Dillon next to him, wide receiver. Dejuan Colvin. He's an edge player, linebacker edge player for us, plays fullback in short yardage. And then Savion Taylor is back for us. He missed the vast majority of junior season with an injury, and was one of the more dominant players in Ventura County as a sophomore. So it's going to be a huge get for us to have him back. So I just want to talk a little bit about these guys, and I'll open up for questions. Like you said, you gave me time, so I'm gonna use the time. So like I talked about, Dom, the guy has been a proven winner, proven leader. He's had substantial playing time from freshman year, earned a starting job his sophomore year. So he's a 4-year guy, maybe not a 4-year starter, but he's a 4-year guy for us. And he's got 2 of the best wide receivers in the state to target. And we don't necessarily have a returning running back. So we have a bunch of young guys fighting for the running back spot. And as much as we like to run the ball and play defense, we also throw the ball. It looks like we're going to be doing more of that this year, and I know they're not arguing with that one. Next to Dom, Jesse Taylor. He recently committed to San Jose State. Long cover corner for us. We'll play some receiver, but anybody that knows that if you play corner in our defense, you're going to be a man-to-man 80 to 90% of the time, depending on the game and the team, and you're going to be going up against some pretty good talent this season with the schedule that we have. So big demand on him, especially because we're not sure about the other corner, and we have a bunch of young guys fighting for that spot, transfer guy and a bunch of young guys fighting for that spot. But what we do know is that JT will be guarding the other team's best receiver. Next to him is Isaiah Dillon. Had a breakout junior season, transferred over to us, we won't mention from where, but when Savion went down with an injury, Isaiah Dillon, not that he wasn't going to be a guy for us, but not only stepped in his game up, but really stepped in that role as the number 1 wide receiver, 1,000-yard, 18-touchdown season. We're actually teaching them how to play a little bit of defense too, which we might need at the other corner spot. But it was a great gift for us and had a phenomenal junior season. It's like we didn't miss a beat in the passing game, even when Sav went down. Next to him was Dejuan Colvin. one of the better edge players in Ventura County. I know we have some good ones, especially here at this school, it's Christian, but just a dominant player, can go against guys twice his size and still get the job done. Strong, physical, fast, smart, all those things. Just a great kid. I've actually had a privilege to see him develop over the years, and excited to see his senior season. And then obviously finally Sav, who we talked about, sophomore season, he racked up all those Power 5 offers and things like that just because he was such a dominant player. I mean, he came into high school football as a freshman and I believe had like 800 yards and 10 touchdowns or something as a freshman. So one of those physical specimen guys. Has always played a little bit of defense for us his freshman, sophomore year. With Day graduating and going to Cal, he's going to have to play more defense for us his senior year. So, and he's cleared, he's back, he's repping, he's not asking for any time off or rest, and he's getting after it. So, again, I'll open up for questions, but just to talk a little bit more about the outlook and what we're facing. We had a pretty good team last year, came up short in the playoffs. We don't make excuses, but there was a lot of reasons. But the reality is we lost some key players, 2 Power 5 guys, an FCS guy, a dominant offensive lineman, and it's going to take a lot to replace them. But what we've seen in camp so far and spring and summer is that we have a lot of very talented young guys that I think are up for the challenge. And so everybody says, how are you going to do? Well, 3 things. Are we going to stay healthy? How are we going to do up front? And are those young guys that are looking dynamic and athletic going to play that way when the lights go on 7 p.m. on a Friday? So it might look good to do in spring and summer practice, but are they going to get it done against the likes of the Marmonte League opponents? So, again, our preseason is going to be a little tough. We got some tough opponents, but we have some guys out that won't be playing, but we will have a full roster going into league. So really looking forward to seeing what we have when we have the whole team together. So I think I've talked enough. I'll open it to questions for myself or my guys.
So, Coach Moon, I've known you for years. I didn't realize you were a closet Drake fan with the starter from the bottom reference. I thought you were old school like me.
I try to keep it hip.
Hey, but on that note, Coach, I mean, obviously I followed Pacifica for several years, and going back to when you first took over the program, was it a challenge at first to try to sell college coaches to want to look at trying players? And over the years, how much has that aspect grown where now, I mean, Florida State, Michigan, all these big name schools are now on campus? Like, how much have you seen that grown over the years?
Good question. Everything was a challenge. I'll leave it at that. Absolutely, everything was a challenge when I took over, and that was one of them. So I handled the recruiting at my previous school. And so you have certain connections and guys that you know, and we had been successful sending guys out. The hard part was letting them know, like, hey, look, I'm over here now, Pacifica. Where's Pacifica? Like, really don't even know. And then trying to get them over without having the D1 talent there, Let's be honest, they're not here to see myself or the other coaches. They're here to see guys that can play at the D1 level. So that was the hard part, but just trying to get our name on the map. So we had a plan. We had a very dominant player named DeAndre Vines that if you flipped on his film, he was going to be an NFL guy. He wasn't a qualifier, but we used the film without a transcript. I'll just tell you what we did. We used the film without a transcript just to draw attention to the school. We were honest with them when they came, but we at least brought them to the school where they were able to see our 6'4" freshman Daniel Moraga, and that's how we did it. It started with I don't want to say a lie, but maybe a embellishment of the truth that we had a D1 guy, but they were able to see a very dominant physical specimen who was a freshman at the time, and it kind of started with Daniel Moraga, went to Miles Williams, and then we've been very, very fortunate to have more and more D1 players come to us. Some of them maybe don't come to us D1 and we develop them, but the reality is they had the talent. They were born with it. We just had to guide them and keep them in the classroom and make sure they didn't make mistakes off the field and all those things. And so that's the answer to how we did it, and it was successful. And now we like to say that we're one of the more higher recruited schools in the area.
So question now for Isaiah Dillon. You had committed to Fresno State during the time Jeff Tedford was head coach. Now Tim Skipper's taking over the program. Have you gotten a chance to talk to T. Skip, and what's your thoughts on the energy he's bringing over to Fresno State?
Yes, sir. T. Skip called me like a week after. Is the mic on? I have talked to T. Skip. He called me a week after, and I had a great talk with him. I still love Fresno State, very confident in where the directions are going. And yes, I feel more confident in T. Skip being head coach now. I just have a better relationship with him. I didn't really talk to John like that, but yeah, me and Coach Skip are locked in. Yes, sir.
So my last question is for Savion. So you got a chance to be on the same field with Day Day. How much did iron sharpen iron during that sequence, and how much do you believe that being around Day Day also is going to help you this upcoming season?
Oh yeah, it's on. Everything, man. Every day to last year and all those years before, man, we go at it every day, man. Those are my guys, man. My brothers, man. So. He was a leader on and off the field every day, man. So definitely learned a lot from him, and we'll continue. We still talk, man, and so continue to learn from him. So.
Dom and Coach Luke, the state of high school quarterbacks. You've stayed now for 4 years. Several of your fellow quarterbacks have left. So you're the survivor. Could you just talk a little bit about the state of high school quarterbacks and why everybody keeps moving around similar to college level?
I feel like a quarterback position is very hard to stay at, especially in a battle. Not a lot of people have the patience to stay in the battle and keep it going. But I felt I was in the right place with Moon. Moon had my best interest, and I felt I needed to play for him for all 4 years. I was willing to run through a wall for him. He's willing to run through a wall for me. I feel like I was in a perfect position with Moon, and that's why I stayed.
I'm going to talk about this guy. So he came in. I won't get into the dynamic of how we had two quarterbacks coming in that were the same age, but we're not always everybody's first choice, and that's okay. But he came in and he battled it out. When I say we went rep for rep for a year and a half, we went rep for rep. And so it was a constant battle every single day where they couldn't have a bad day, they couldn't have a bad rep. And it was between him and who's going to be the quarterback at Simi Valley, Tag Harrison, who we love. And they battled it out. And both kids grinded, didn't complain, rooted each other on, were friends, pushed each other to be great. And again, no complaint. Eventually, sophomore year, Don won the job. But it was never a question in his mind that he was going to stay. It might have been in a question in other people's minds, as we know, in families and this and that. But the reality is we appreciate it. He grinded. He believed in himself. We believed in him, and it worked out great for Dom, and it worked out good for Tag eventually. So.
Dom, what are your expectations this season with the senior leadership that you have returning?
Yeah, we have a lot of great seniors returning this year. Like these 5 guys, we have a few others on the team. I think our expectation is nothing but a state title, another state title. We need to get Moon another one. Besides that, win league, obviously. We need a good record this year, 10-0. Just another state ring.
My question is for
Easy.
My question is for Jesse Taylor. Coach mentioned that you committed to San Jose State. Have you gotten a chance to get to know the new regime led by Coach Ken, and what's your take on that coaching staff taking over now?
Yeah, I got to know him when I was up there. Coach Ken, he's like a really spiritual guy, so he's really cool to talk to. They was just great up there. They showed a lot of love when I was there. Yeah, and the players just took me in under their wing. The DB, Michael Dansby there, he took me in his wing and got to like show me like how they run and operate there. So yeah, it was great.
How much does it also help that Josh Urban is from Oxnard? He's on the San Jose State coaching staff. So, I mean, you already have somebody you could relate to up there, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had a lot of talks with him too, just showing me what they do up there, their techniques and stuff. So, yeah.
Coach, what is the record for most passes thrown in the game in Pacifica history? You break that in the first game.
I don't know if we're breaking the first game, but unless we find a proven running back, we're going to break it at some point this season. So, and to be honest with you, like I said, we like to run the ball, but our offensive coordinator likes to throw it, and our quarterback likes to throw it, and we have guys that throw it too. And we got to figure out a couple other receivers there besides Isaiah and Sav, but I'll take those two guys.
What do you think is the record?
What do you think? Probably 40-something. I think it was against St. Bonaventure two years ago. Maybe it's 41, maybe, I don't know, something like that.
Coach, what's special about this team that makes them ready for this new challenge in the Marmonte League?
Special? What kind of special? I think, okay. I think it's a culmination of things. I think we have with Sav and Dom, you could throw Dejuan and JT in there too, but with Sav and Dom, who were a major part of our freshman or varsity team 4 years ago. You know, we won state. We felt like we had a really good team. In the COVID year, only were able to play 5 games. We don't know what we would have done if we had that whole roster, you know. And then we came up short in 21 against Oaks Christian. We came up short against Cathedral in 22, and then we came up short last year against Cajon. And so if you're asking what this team has, I think it has some leadership from some hungry guys that know that before they got there, our program was at a certain level, and that know that we've come up short for this reason, that reason, or another while they've been there. So the reality is same scheme, same coaching staff. The only variable really in our program is the players. And so I think they've put a challenge amongst themselves. And then, you know, in the offseason, you know, ins and outs of ups and downs of the program. We've had some leadership meetings where we really had to dial these young guys in because, like I said, we have a large number of young guys that are sometimes knuckleheads. So, so the hunger to really prove that they're as good or better than the previous groups to achieve at the highest level, and you know, the leadership that I've shown from these guys, we haven't necessarily had to have that type of leadership from players because we've had so many returning guys since 2019. Now, when I say young guys, they're young, I'm talking about freshmen and sophomores, like a large number of them. And we break them down and they get dialed in by the time they're on varsity, but it takes us a little while sometimes with our demographic to get them to act right, if you will. And so I think those two things, I don't think anything physically, athletically, I think it's very similar than teams we've had in the past. But I think those two things, I don't say give us an advantage, but it's something that we can hold our hat on going into the season versus the schedule.
So this is either for Coach Boone or any of the players. Malik Sherrod has been immensely successful at Fresno State. He's now on the NFL radar, being that he's a past Pacifica High legend. How inspiring is that to see like his success and knowing it's opening the doors for future guys going to the collegiate level?
I'm gonna answer it, and then you guys can answer if you want. I'm gonna hang our hat on something a little bit different, and then we'll talk about this because next year we're gonna have a couple guys I think that have a chance. Last June, I think I had 8 ex-football players. Some of them D1 guys that you know, some of them not. 8 players that graduated from college, and in our demographic, that is not common. And so I like those guys to be something for these guys to aspire to as much as the guys going D1 and playing ball. But that's something that I was super proud of. I think it was 8. It might have been even 9. So that I'm proud of. Now, next year, in the spring, Malik will get a chance. Noah will get a chance. Maybe Caleb will get a chance. Maybe Devin will get a chance. But right now, that's what our guys have achieved. And so I really, we really, like I said, we used that word hang our hat on that one. But that one was a big one for our program. As for these guys, however they feel about that, go ahead.
It's a lot of motivation, man. They were just in our shoes a couple of years ago. They come back every year, come talk to us, and just a huge inspiration, man. If they can do it, we can too. So it means everything to us.
I grew up around Malik and watching him since I was young because I've been in Pacifica for a long time, even before I was in high school. So just watching Malik in that 2019 team and seeing how they prepared and how they played, it's just seeing that we can, what Sav said, we can, if they can do it, we can do it too. So.
JT's dad's been one of our coaches for a long time, so he's been on our sideline since he was probably 6.
So I got one last question for Isaiah. Jalen Moreno Cropper, as you know, thrived at Fresno State. He's now in the city, and he's battling for a roster spot with the Cowboys. You've gotten a lot of comparisons to Jalen. I mean, just seeing his success with the Cowboys and the fact that you're going to where he's going, I mean, how motivated is that for you?
That's very motivating because it's always been a dream of mine to play in the NFL. And obviously, like you said, I committed to Fresno State a couple months ago. And to see him come out of Fresno State and him in Oxnard at the Cowboys training camp, like doing very good. I just seen him catch a touchdown the other day. It's very motivating. I know I could be there one day, and I hope that is me one day. So, yeah, very motivating, and I hope he keeps going.